Hi, my name is Maggie, and I'm here to talk to you about moving to China. So, I came to China about 3 weeks ago. I stayed 2 weeks in Beijing for training within my school center. And then, about a week ago, I moved to my city, which is Qingdao. So, a little thing about Career China, which is the company I went through to come here, and how they got me here is I first applied, did my rounds of interviews, and signed a loosely contract saying I am going to be coming. Then we started the whole visa process, which took way longer than I thought. I started in about February with all my medical forms, and by the August is when I got my visa officially on my passport. So that was a long process, very stressful, because not only was I leaving for China, but I was also leaving my home state close to an embassy to go work in Hawaii, which their close embassy is all the way in, it's either Los Angeles in California, or there's a little small place in Honolulu, but that was about a 3 hour bus ride from my camp. So that wasn't able to work. But I got my visa and I'm here and living an expat life in China. So, how Career China got us here is they paid for our flight here. So, they would book your flight, and mine had a little problem. So, they emailed me saying there's going to be a chance that you're not going to get on this flight. How would you like to fly on another day? And I said sure. But luckily enough, they got me on the day of the flight they wanted. So I flew out on Sunday and landed in Beijing on Tuesday. Very jet lagged that day. So then during the flight, it was pretty empty since it was about 11 o'clock, almost midnight. So not many people on the flight. So luckily, for the first time, I was able to lay down across a two-person seat and go to sleep for a very long time. It was a very long flight. All of the entertainment was in Chinese, so I do highly recommend you, if you're flying on a Chinese or international airline, to bring your own entertainment. Luckily, I downloaded books and I downloaded a few movies onto my Kindle, so I was pretty much set, but I also did sleep a lot. What else happened? Oh, luckily the flight attendants, I think there was only two that spoke English. So the whole time they would try their English with me, and it's very hard to understand them because the plane was so loud. But when the pilot came on board, or not on board, but on the loudspeaker, I could not understand the pilot. So when it was seatbelt time, because there was a few times where we had to buckle up our seatbelts, I would just watch for the light. And the major announcements, there was a translation, so the flight attendant would come over, say it in Chinese, and then say it in English. Not many times, but just a few. Then we landed on the platform after we taxied for a few minutes, and I'm used to you getting off at a gate with a tunnel, and that leads you right to the airport. We got off at the runway. They said they were providing us a bus since it was raining, and I'm thinking to myself, what would happen if it wasn't raining? Would we walk? It was about a 10-minute bus ride. Everything was in Chinese, and I'm like, I'm actually here. Oh my gosh, like, I'm in a foreign place where they're not going to really speak my language well. I didn't know many words. I knew ni hao and had to count to 3 and say the word 8. And that was it. So got to the airport, followed the huge crowd to go through customs because everybody's going through customs. The customs line at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday went pretty quick. I think I was only in line for a half hour. So first you do a fingerprint scan before they allow you in line, or the second part. Once you get your fingerprint scanned, then you go fill out some forms about what your business in China is and where you're staying. Since I didn't really know where I was staying, I chose the hotel's address since I was staying there for 2 weeks. And then put down Career China as work, and then put First Leap because I work for First Leap as well. So then once you fill that out, you can go in line for customs, and they just take your paper, make sure everything is good and authentic, and then you are allowed in China. Went to the baggage claim train, got my bags, but that took a little bit because I went to my carousel and bags were going around. So I'm like, okay, my bag is not there yet. About 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in, I'm like, okay, I don't see any of my bags. And the sign said that my baggage is all done. And by my carousel, I saw my bags in the need to pick up bag area. So got my bags, and I unfortunately needed to exchange money at the airport since I did not do it back home or anywhere else. So went to the airport, exchanged some money. Yes, the tax rate is higher, but it wasn't too bad. I thought I first exchanged about, I think it was $200, but instead I exchanged 100 and it got about 500 RMB. Once that happened, I left that area, the baggage claim, to go find the person picking me up. Career China has a sign that someone will hold up that says Career China that you're looking for, or another place to meet if you don't see them. I didn't see them, so I waited and finally met my person, and it was great. They picked me up, they helped me with my bags. Awesome. So we went to the hotel. It was a very long trip, and it was a very long flight. And I didn't drive, but the car ride to the hotel was crazy. And this is 5 a.m. and there was traffic everywhere in Beijing. Like, we would drive a little bit and then hit our brakes. Very, very different from the US. So once we got to the hotel, the person who picked me up from the airport that spoke English took my passport to check me into my hotel room, and another person was explaining a little bit about how this week was going to go, saying you're going to need a Metro card, and here's a SIM card for this much. It is your choice to take the Metro and SIM. I highly do recommend you take the Metro card. The SIM card, that is up to you. I took it, but mine did not work. A lot of people's did not work, so I sold back my SIM card and got my money back. But as well as we got information about orientation, when later that day, right before orientation started, we got information about what type of orientation we were going to. Our group was huge, so we were split up into 3 different centers, so they can teach us each. They say we were the biggest group they've experienced, so hoping they learn from our experience. It was good and not so good at times, but I enjoyed orientation with my group. As well as you get a roommate for your hotel stay. I loved my roommate. I would not have changed my roommate for anything. We got along great. We still sometimes talk to each other when we can, but our work schedules are the same but different at the same time, so we don't talk too much. But if you do not choose to get a roommate, you can reserve the private room. You will have to pay the extra for that, but you gotta tell Career China first. So that was my experience of coming to China. One thing that I wish I did do was not pack so much. I think I probably could have gone away with one bag, but since I was working summer camp in Hawaii, I took 2 bags, one for my summer clothes, one for winter clothes. But after working camp in Hawaii, I realized I probably could have cut back on my clothes and maybe even cut back on my winter clothes here. Alright, well, that is my experience moving to China. I hope you take this video and roll with it, and I'll try to post other videos about my experience with everything. Check them out, check my channel, and we'll see where we go. I hope you come to China just like I did.